Hello, everybody, and welcome back to... I wasn't ready for that, Vegas. You gotta warn me.
Nope.
Oh, I also forgot to switch screens. That was embarrassing.
Well,
welcome back.
So no one saw that?
No one saw that.
Oh, you bastard.
You distracted me. I was about to do it, but then okay, he's doing it, guys. He's doing it. You're all welcome. All right.
This doesn't have the effect on the second time through.
Yeah.
No, it was kind of sad the second time.
Kind of like your...
Go ahead.
I can't even think of where to go. I was going to...
Face?
Nope. I went to a really dark place mentally that I'm not.
Welcome back to Dire Roll Neosoma. Unfortunately, Molly, aka Chuck, could not join us tonight. She wanted to, but she could not. So we will have to press on without her because we're not sure if she'll be able to play next week either, so there was no point postponing. And if you're watching this and you aren't watching Game of Thrones, thank you.
Well, I mean, it doesn't start for another 2 hours, so...
If you're watching this past the break, thank you. You want to pad my numbers, you can leave it on muted while you watch Game of Thrones. I wouldn't judge you.
You would.
Of course, we don't officially condone lurking on this channel.
No, we don't officially condone lurking.
Do it.
So, where we last left our intrepid heroes. The JCC and the Barony have allied to take down the Chicago Isles, ruled by Apuru-on the Kalray, a very powerful being from the otherworld. And the siege is on. Tommy, Chuck, and Bill came by way of dirigible, and they're hitting these skyscrapers that are... The bottoms are flooded, and so each skyscraper is its own kind of island. Tommy blew one of the skyscrapers up and caused it to fall into the other skyscraper. And Big Joe was locked in a battle of magic against Apuru-on, of which he was sorely outmatched. However, during the battle, Big Joe, inadvertently perhaps, or perhaps purposefully, got nature involved, and when nature with a capital N woke up, it was not thrilled, and neither was Apuru-on. The last thing we saw, actually, before I get to that, in addition to the big battle going on, the infamous charred man that has been chasing them since Lake Michigan arrived and has been making short work of the Dutuowo soldiers. And it's unclear what his motivations are. And that brings us to when nature toppled the skyscraper that Big Joe and Apuru-on were in. And they are both whereabouts unknown.
And he's no longer a Apuru-on, he's a Apuru-off.
Okay. And Iso, thank you. I appreciate that. So our pre-game conversation went completely off the rails. I meant to talk to Big Joe's player about something we discussed last time, and it completely slipped. And now it just hit me, and I'm like, oh no.
Go with whatever your heart wants, and I'll roll with it.
Well,
that's the thing, though. He's the GM. He has no heart.
I have no heart. It's just a solid hunk of lead. It weighs heavily on me, but fortunately, I'm real swole. All right. We're gonna kind of take Chuck off the board here, just because it doesn't matter if we keep track of where he is. And let's go ahead and swing over to the game screen here. So current active aspects are, of course, our overall aspects: Nature's Scorn and the Dangerous Road, and then our situational aspects, which include Battlefield Chicago, Kalray Magic, which is all three types of magic active, and one aspect that was created by Tommy called Let's Blow This Popsicle Stand, with all of its free uses used, but it's still an aspect. All right, so let's cut to Tommy and Bill on the skyscraper. This circular representation here is gone. In fact, I'll just delete it. Because the entire thing just got toppled over by a huge water...
Weird.
Weird. Yes, perfect. And both Apuron and Big Joe vanished under the waves.
Okay, but are we still in initiative or not? That's a question. I'm assuming not.
Not right now. I just want to know what Bill and how Bill and Tommy are what are they handling things right now?
Well, Bill at this point, although they were here to rescue well, maybe not in these buildings, but to find out the party's I think 13, since Flip is somewhere on one of those dirigibles. 13 survivors, if my count remembers, or 11, I don't remember. Anyway, so the other survivors, the unnamed survivors, the care. Bill has a little to no care at this point about them. He's seeing everything's degenerating to hell. He wants to get the fuck out, but since he has made some strong bonds with Big Joe, Chuck, and to an extent Tommy, although he's a little bit more recent addition to the party, his concern right now is more about trying to somehow salvage Big Joe's situation and get Big Joe out of there along with the rest of the party. He couldn't care less about Mr. Fire Guy on this building, and he could not care less about the magical guy that's fighting with Big Joe.
Okay, it was a firm synopsis of Bill's position.
I was ready.
Firmly in the tell, don't show. What do you got for me, Tommy?
Can the big guy swim? Is that a thing? Because if he can't, we're in trouble. Well, no, we're not in trouble. We're fine. But he's definitely in trouble. And I kind of like the guy. So, shit.
Yeah, we gotta get him out of there before this guy, and I pointed to the fiery guy, and this guy kind of sealed.
Well, you can't see a Puron.
Okay, well, the guy who was fighting, I don't point.
Oh, and when you point at the man who was identified as Zharenyy, he sprints across the top of this skyscraper and dives all the way down and smashes into your skyscraper, maybe 10, 15 floors below you.
Oh, good. This guy's here to help us. Okay, so he'll make his way up here. But he just did the Pierre and Tommy window dive. Like that's a good guy.
No, he's a very angry person. He will try to destroy everyone and everything else. He only has one goal: is this.
And at that, we're gonna cut to him, just smashed into the bowels of the skyscraper. And he's immediately met with a squadron of Dutuoa, and one of them lunges at him with the bayonet of his staff weapon, and he just kind of grabs it, takes it from him, hits him across the head with it, stabs another guy with it, uses his submachine gun to shoot another one, and eventually dispatches the first one with a swipe of the blade. And then he just kind of looks up. As we pan out, we're going to cut to black. And when we fade in, we hear, at first very quietly, but then rapidly getting louder, the sounds of just kind of small arm gunfire. And suddenly it kind of builds up into this uproarious battle. Gunshots flying everywhere, artillery booming in the distance. You can hear planes screaming by. And then we just kind of hard cut into a scene of Moscow on fire. And on the bottom it says, Moscow, because you don't know, 1953. Actually, 1954, sorry. And at the heart of this scene, in this kind of makeshift trench, in the carcass of a building, is this team of Soviet soldiers. They're wearing very specific uniforms that mark them as elite. They're wielding all kinds of mismatched weaponry. Some have AK-47s, some have the PPSH, others have SKS rifles. It's all over the place. And they are surrounded by enemies, and you can see them kind of just piled up against this circular perimeter, unloading their weapons in every direction. And Dutuoa are closing it around them. These misty warriors advancing fearlessly, shrugging off some of the smaller bullets without any kind of reaction, while some of the larger calibers maybe make them stop for a moment. It takes a serious amount of firepower for even one of them to fall. At one point, a Soviet bomber drops a payload down and kind of clears out one side of this assault. And then when the smoke clears, hovering above them is a different call ray, not a Puron. This one has a very different look, unlike the kind of wooded kind of vibe we got from a Puron. This one seems to be made out of jagged stone, and feathers are coming out of these stones in kind of mismatched ways, and it has a beak coming out of his forehead like a horn, but it's very obviously a beak, and no mouth to speak of, and 4 glowing eyes. And this one is kind of hovering over the battlefield, and when it raises its hand, a wash of magic shoots forth, strikes 4 of these Soviet soldiers, and they just fall over, lifeless. And we focus in on one Soviet soldier who looks down. He's holding an SKS, and he tries to fire, but nothing happens, and he throws that weapon down, and he grabs a PPSH. And he looks up at this call ray, and he starts just unloading into this guy. And just then, in the distance, through a patch of just buildings that have been completely leveled so that you can see far out into the horizon, the ground kind of vibrates a little, and this mushroom cloud shoots up into the sky. Everyone in the battle kind of stops to turn and stare at it. The Russians are horrified, and the Dutuoa have no idea what this weapon is. They've never seen a nuclear blast before. Even the call ray looks at it with apprehension. And suddenly, all the fires of Moscow flicker in unison. And some of them rise up, and a roar shoots out of them as if they're alive, because they are. At this moment, nature has been awoken. And as it awakens, suddenly the fire spreads out across Moscow with a massive blanket of just heat and destruction, completely uncontrolled by anything natural, except for nature itself. When this call ray sees this happening, he quickly moves his hands and starts conjuring a protective magic to try to shield his warriors from this blaze. But the barrier just kind of fails, so instead he ushers out his hands and spores shoot out of his fingers, and you can see the Dutuoa being burned and then being healed and then being burned and then being healed. But as this indiscriminate healing magic washes over the battlefield, it also touches the Russian soldiers. And the Russians are burned and healed and burned and healed, and everyone beneath him is being burned to a bitter crisp of a man and then renewed back until eventually the fire completely consumes over them, but the magic is still coming down. And then the call ray is engulfed by fire as it literally lunges up like 2 big arms and just grabs hold of him and drags him to the ground. And then the fires kind of pitter out, seeking to destroy more of Moscow, more Dutuoa, more soldiers, anyone left in the fire's wake. And in the ashes, as the smoke starts to clear, all of the Russian soldiers rise. There's maybe 30 of them left. And they all look like burned men with kind of crust-like appearance, with molten skin and fire kind of in the cracks of their bodies, with burning embers eyes. And one of them reaches down and picks up his PPSH.
Those fools dug too deep.
We then see kind of a kind of collage, mishmatch montage of this one soldier's experience from then on as the years go by. We see these burning men used by the Soviet government to try to regain control after the drop. They're pacifying resistance. They're fighting Dutuoa. And they are the ultimate warriors. Nothing seems to be able to kill them. They take energy blasts and keep walking. And eventually we see a Soviet soldier, and he says with the Russian, in Russian with the English subtitles, he says, "The Zharenyy, they can't be stopped. We need to rein them in. Eventually they'll figure out that we can't hurt them. We have to put a stop to them before it's too late." And then in the next scene, Russian soldiers try to ambush the Zharenyy, and they use these strange devices similar to something Hector would build with electric shocks. And these kind of start putting some of them down, but the Zharenyy rise up and start gunning everyone down. And in a haze of rapid cuts and gunfire and death, the remaining Zharenyy look around, and everyone around them is dead in this building. And they all look at each other, and then they all kind of just start walking away in different directions. And of course, we follow one guy who has this PPSH. And we kind of watch him walk. He passes by a broken Eiffel Tower. We see him somewhere in Spain. And eventually he comes to the water. He stops for a moment. And then he starts walking again, down into the water. And then we see him deep under the water, where nothing should survive, and he's just walking. His gun's gone, it's been destroyed from the pressure, and he just keeps walking till finally he comes up on an American shore. He walks around until he finds a crashed Russian helicopter and finds a replacement PPSH, and then he just keeps walking. And he finds yet another lake as he's watching this vehicle drive away. This vehicle we all recognize, this boat carrying away our party. And he walks into the water, and the camera pans down into the water as he walks into it. And as soon as he disappears and the ripples stop, suddenly burst forth Big Joe, because we're back to the present.
Okay then. So from the fire, is Big Joe now on the ground, or I guess?
No, you're paddling in the water. There's debris and chunks of building around you. Yeah, and it feels like it's raining on you, but it's just the torrent of constant waves, like tsunamis, crashing over you.
Okay.
You have no idea what happened to Apuron, but you managed to find up. And yeah, you broke the surface of the water, and with a huge gasp for air, because, you know, even Joe need to breathe.
Yeah. Okay. So with he's just floating there, trying to paddle. He's not a strong swimmer. He can, but he is not the strongest. He's really damn big, and not exactly best for the water sports. And
dear.
I chose wrong word terminology on that one, but we'll just go forward. And now that he sees up, he's the first thing, of course, he looks for his foe, can't find him, and then starts to try and look for his friends. Although it's probably going to be pretty hard as they're on top of buildings, and he is...
The water around you starts to drag you, and you start moving in a pretty wide circle. And the water in this circle starts to part as you start picking up speed and you're getting thrashed about. And at the center of this vacuum space is Apuron, and he's pushing out all of his magic to get the water off of him. And he lets out a and then suddenly one of his arms just kind of bends, almost in a braking motion, and then the water just stops spinning and then comes crashing down with violent force back onto him. And you're just kind of getting bobbed about on the water here.
This is not exactly what, he's getting thrown about. He can't really finish a sentence.
You can tell, though, that for whatever reason, nature has picked Apuron, and it just wants to end it.
All right. Big Joe is, despite the swirling waters, is going to attempt to swim against it to get away from where he last saw Apuron, because he doesn't want to be at the epicenter of nature's wrath, even though he purposely summoned it as a Hail Mary.
All right, give me an athletics check. The difficulty will be 4 because you're just getting nature's just battering you.
I mean, also most of his ankles are broken, so.
Actually, is athletics a skill? It's been a while.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, cool. Carry on.
So that is a 3.
Okay.
That's actually a decent roll. So, I'm deciding if I want to spend a fate point on this. No, I'm gonna let this ride out.
All right. I'm thinking you reach the skyscraper where you can kind of grab hold, but we're gonna give you some physical stress, and I know your boxes are pretty checked. So I'm gonna go ahead and say you're gonna take 2 physical stress.
Sweet. Okay. So I guess I am taking an 8-point consequence.
Oh god, is that the last one you have left?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Don't you have like 2 mild because your physique is so high? Or was that rest
That's
in peace,
5.
Roy? Yeah, okay. No, it wasn't even Roy then.
Yeah, you have to get 5 physique.
All right. Well, what is your which aspect are you replacing, and what are you replacing it with?
Okay. Well, it can't be his. I can't replace his.
High concept or trouble.
Okay, cool. So.
And you have an extra slot actually, so you could just add a new one.
You can have up to 5 aspects?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, sweet. I'll just add a new one. Called He Don't Walk So Good Anymore. Seeing as he had kind of playing off of his severe consequence of concrete shoes in his battle with Apuron up on the top, he had been trying to reinforce himself. Didn't really work out in his favor. Now being thrashed about, his legs are now just like broken, kind of shattered messes from just the fall. The now like whirlpool-like effects thrashing him about. His feet are, he's not going to be walking so good after this.
Okay. Well, Big Joe is the very definition of spent, but he's reached the skyscraper.
Okay. Sweet. I just wanted to know if I had to check that in the actual consequences boxes, but
no,
that's
just a new aspect. Yeah.
Yep. Sweet.
So any physical stress at all, and you're taken out.
Yeah. This is once again a Hail Mary, like complete Hail Mary.
Well,
Okay.
Bill has another Hail Mary.
Well, I want to know what's Big Joe's plan from here, and then we'll cut to you guys. Like, what is
well, now that he's reached shore, he's gonna try and stand, realize not happening. Then is just gonna dig into the ground.
No, you haven't reached shore. You reached the skyscraper, so you're like clean up against the side of this building.
Oh, okay. I thought this. Oh, yeah, the skyscrapers are coming out of the water. I thought they were on little islands.
They
okay.
are little islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a nearby window?
I mean, yes.
Okay. He is. There's no way I can do this without causing physical stress to him.
You're pretty big.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty big. So he's gonna get near a window and then just try to like throw himself through the window to get into the building.
Okay.
If he can find a broken one, that will be his goal. But
all right, so you kind of squeeze into this hallway because you're big.
Yeah.
All right, so we leave Big Joe spitting out water and just kind of limp like a fish inside this narrow hallway that he's wedged into. All right, Bill, Tommy, we're back to you.
Bill, I'm just wondering if Bill would have watched that unfold, or if he would have
give me notice.
Putting it. Well, before I do that, Jakin. So, okay, the plan. the plan. I'm gonna do notice if you say I need to roll notice, but the plan for Bill is he wants to flag one of the closest ship. He's assuming that the one they came on to is still floating around, most likely.
Well, it was told to retreat, so it is in the process of turning about and getting out of here.
Well, probably, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try to flag them to drive over us so that we can hang on to these. And my plan, my end goal plan, would have been to lower close to the water and try to get Big Joe into these ropes. He would have had to hold on. I'm not sure how that would work, but at least we had a chance.
Okay.
That was my plan.
Briefly, as Bill is trying to flag down the airship, Tommy's going to drop his tool bag, rummage through it, throw a bunch of random items out, and pull a bullhorn. And kind of tug on Bill's other sleeve and just smile up at him with a bull.
Well, I got noise now.
Okay, well, Bill, as you take it, you're confident that this one hasn't been auto-tuned, because the one that the commander had, that the Baron had, was auto-tuned. But little do you know that Tommy spent the whole flight over here making sure that this one was also auto-tuned. So, you raise it to your face and...
Over here, we need your help. God damn it!
Tommy's just jumping up and down with joy, giggling, clapping his hands.
All right. So, the dirigible is going to hear that and fly overhead, and you guys grab on, and we're just gonna skip to the part where you guys climb aboard.
Okay, and then I would look down for Big Joe, and that's probably when you want me to roll notice, because where the hell...
Yeah.
Is that a roll for both of us?
Sure. Iso says new highest point on the pain scale. Yeah, from 1 to 10, how high is your pain, Zharenyy? 49. All right, Tommy.
That's a 5 on notice for me.
You see just the last sight of his feet squeezing through a broken window.
And also, his feet don't look right.
Oof.
Hey, he can swim. So he's back in the building that we just left with the weird Bernie guy that you said is not a friend.
Yep, that's a problem, but hopefully he does not climb up, and hopefully that fiery guy climbs up. So now we gotta lower the airship while keeping an eye on the fiery guy, and also attracting Big Joe's attention. That's gonna be a...
I'm assuming we want to do this quick, like, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I got yous. Tommy's gonna run over to the balloon controls and see if he can, just basically drop heat as if it were 0 Kelvin.
Okay, just to get it down.
Oh yeah, just
right.
Without cutting the ropes that connect to the balloon, but that's an option. That's definitely an option. If
as you guys are doing this, every building is being assailed by huge directional, just strikes of water. The floors are starting to fill and buckle, and one of the buildings even kind of just kind of collapses in on itself from the weight of all the water being pushed into it. And dirigibles are swooping in and starting to pick up everybody that's on your team, while the Dutuo are still desperately fighting. And one of the dirigibles is flying high over, and you all hear, "Everybody retreat!"
Okay, well, I tell the captain we still gotta go get Big...
Alright, Tommy, give me a crafts roll, difficulty 3, to get the dirigible to lower, basically right above the water, nape of the earth. Actually, let's make it 2.
Yes, sir.
Because it's designed to drop, so... There you go, crafts 3. So, since I gave it to 2, that's a success. So you lower, basically not in line with him, because he's basically right up against. He's still getting lapped with water every now and then. But just he could easily reach out the window and grab a hold.
would he notice this dirigible?
Well, you probably hear, Big Joe! God damn it!
It's all crammed into this hallway. He's just like, hello? Is that someone I know? And he's obviously shouting it, but...
Grab the rope!
He's gonna look past his feet, and then in this tight hallway, that may be a minute or so, as he tries to, like, smash through the walls to turn himself around.
And very carefully, because, you know, a slight scratch and you're dead.
Pretty much.
Alright, yeah, so Big Joe eventually gets his way around, and the ropes are kind of dangling from where you were. You just kind of grab hold, and kind of, like, there's, like, loops in the ropes that you kind of, like, crawl through until you're slung underneath it, and you just kind of go limp, because you're really screwed up.
Yup.
At this point, Bill turns around to Captain and Tommy and says, Tommy, Captain, whoever, just book it. We gotta get away before Fiery Guy.
Just then, a huge splash of water overtakes the deck, if you will. And the pilot's, you know, like, once the water comes, he's like, we gotta get altitude now!
On it.
Alright, Crafts 2.
That's a 3.
We got it, boys. Alright, so the dirigible begins to ascend rather rapidly. It ascends, it ascends, it ascends, and then it gets to the top of the skyscraper, just at the point where it can break off and make a run for it. And as it rises, we see rising from the top, standing at the edge of the skyscraper, is the Zharenyy. And just as you guys see him, he leaps and lands on the dirigible.
On it or on the deck?
On the deck, yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if he lands on the balloon, we're in big fucking trouble.
And as his feet strike the platform, kind of an ember starts to kind of light the floor, just a little bit, just like a little like a match lit underneath his feet. And he rises, and one of your comrades, one of the JCC, comes running at him with the machete, and he just kind of grabs the guy by the collar and throws him off the dirigible. And then he turns to look at the only person he recognizes. That will be Bill. And he says, "Where is the tape?"
Actually, it's in the caravan, which is currently back where we took off, right?
Yeah. At the rendezvous point.
Bill wants to survive more than he cares about the tape. He doesn't see much use of the tape because we know the location, and I doubt that the tape would be like the key to go in, right? Was there any, when we watched it originally, Jake, and was there any indication that the tape was the key to go into the safe?
No.
Also, did Big Joe see Flamin' Man jump onto the dirigible?
I don't think, because he's underneath, so he would have missed it.
I didn't know how like high up when he made the jump.
It was pretty much immediately when he could, he jumped, kind of deal.
Okay, cool.
Well, first thing Bill is going to answer, we don't have it with us right now.
Okay.
And he's going to put his hands, like, you know, he has his gun, but, like, he's kind of holding his gun like this. Just to show, like, I'm not going to fight you yet. You're not fighting yet. Like, let's keep it at neutral point right now. And Bill's going to ask, what do you want? Why is the tape so important to you?
He looks at you. He takes one step forward, and as he raises his PPSH, and he guns down on the next closest guy to him, and he says, "I was spared in the fires of Moscow, burned by nature, saved by magic. I cannot die. I have been to the deepest depths." Kills another guy. "And I have risen. No blade has pierced me. No weapon has harmed me. It is clear I was born in fire for one purpose: to cleanse this world of all those who harm it. I am the apocalypse incarnate, and I will kill you all."
Well,
he's not wrong.
If you kill us now,
who's this Maluk? Who the hell does this guy think he is? Hey, Sergey, calm your shit, okay? Like, can you not see that there's some stuff going on right now, and you are highly inconvenient. Why don't we just put the gun down and not be a raging douche canoe for like 20 minutes? And we'll get back to where we can land and we can talk this out, okay? Like, you can go all apocalypse now on everyone at that point, but like,
as you're saying that, he levels the PPSH at you and he squeezes, and we just hear it.
One singular purpose, huh? Fate is on your side, huh? Looks like fate said, nope, I ain't shooting Tommy today. Screw you, Sergey.
He throws the gun aside, and then he kind of like runs his arms down his chest and throws them to the side, and kind of embers and coal fling off of him, and the deck starts to catch fire. And he looks at you and he says, I prefer my fist. Now we're in initiative.
Okay. I was going to say, Bill had something to say. Can I quickly say something?
Yes, say something.
Okay, so I turn to Tommy and I say, hey, Tommy.
Yo.
Bigger, bang your gun.
Bigger, bang. Oh,
Get
done.
off the shit.
All right. In the case of a tie, it goes to athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
He's got you beat, I reckon. He's got a 4.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the Zharenyy goes first. Well, Tommy, I don't know what you got cooked up, but you were talking mad smack, so you're priority target. He's gonna run up and try to just backhand you across the deck. He has a +6 fight. What are you going to defend with?
Does a stunt have to be used on your turn?
No, just whenever it qualifies.
All it says is once per scene.
Okay. That qualifies.
I'm going to defend by ninja vanishing below deck as he swings.
So once per scene, you just nope out of there?
Once per scene, you can vanish well in plain sight by spending a fate point. I'm going to do that. Gain the vanished boost. While vanished, cannot be attacked or have advantage created until they succeed on an overcome with noticed. Boost goes away as soon as I invoke it or someone makes that overcome.
Okay. So he rushes forward to you and swipes, and you're gone. So you gain the boost vanished. Let's go ahead and do that real quick.
I already dropped my fate point out there.
Okay.
And I'm imagining it very much a Star-Lord circa Infinity War as he drops back into the portal after planting the bomb on yeah.
Okay. Big Joe. Even though you didn't see him, you probably heard the shouting and the Russian.
And the gunshots.
And the gunshots are just directly above you.
Big Joe is going to, since he's like hanging on ropes, he's gonna reach up and start grabbing the ropes and then trying to pull himself up to the deck.
Okay.
And that, I mean, that'll
That's
be
your
his
move.
entire turn.
No, that'll be a move. So you pull yourself onto the deck.
Yeah, still on the ground because can't stand up. Good sir, it has been a trying day, and while I may be not at my best right now, we do not need to come to fisticuffs. There is some way we can get out of this, I am certain. Because he didn't hear like the whole "I'm the apocalypse," so he's still trying to.
So what are you trying to do here?
I don't know if it would be a rapport, I guess. Like I'm trying to de-escalate the situation. So would that be a rapport to overcome, or?
I think it'll be a rapport to create an advantage because you're probably not going to talk him out of this.
Okay. Yeah. Then that's what I'm going to try and do. I'll try to create an advantage.
Okay.
Maybe like a
Oof. He's going to resist with will, which he has really high will. He's got a +4.
That's cool. Yeah. That's kind of. With 4 though on my rapport roll, that's actually a decent roll.
I got a 2. So you are going to succeed with a free invocation. So what do you want to call this here? This thing. You know the thing? You know.
This boost?
No, it's aspect.
Sorry, this aspect. And it's via rapport. I kind of want to say, look up here, but just look over here.
And you have 1 free invoke on that.
Sweet.
Okay, Bill.
I'm not sure if you'll allow it, but seeing as how Big Joe managed to make him not quite hesitant, but like kind of, back into talking-ish, Bill's gonna try to capitalize on this and make him hesitant, or like do stress damage, mental stress damage, by making him hesitant, by saying, you know that if you kill us, you'll never find that thing.
Are you doing a provoke attack?
Yes.
Okay. He will defend with will. You guys are rolling really good.
I got a 4.
And I'm not. So that's going to be 2 mental stress.
Actually, since I roll so high, I'm going to try to do more damage if I can. I want him down. So, it was not a lie. It was actually not a lie. It's full truth, so I'm going to call upon no bullshit. If you kill us, you're never going to get the tape. You don't know where it is. No bullshit. +2 to... So I'm now at 6.
Okay, so you are beating him by 4. He does have a 4 stress box for mental, as he has +4 will. So he is just going to check that big box, though. Alright, so, yeah, his 4 box on mental stress has been checked.
That's 1 done.
Okay. Tommy Two Toes. It's Tommy, your turn.
Alright, so down below deck, obviously I managed to jump back into the hole with my tool bag with me.
Clearly.
Because even if not, I got a stunt for that, because I'm just that amazing. But I got the bag with me. He's can I hear that he's pretty much still straight above me?
Ish, yeah. He hasn't moved.
Ish? Alright, so I'm gonna find an advantageous spot to sticky a little bit of the leftover dynamite I got on me under him, but slightly to the side. I'm going to try and shape this explosion so that it shoots him at approximately a 45-degree angle away from the ship. And then I'm also going to try to shield the inside of the ship from the explosion. In the process of, it really is. But if anybody is up for it, hey, it's your boy Tommy Two Toes.
He's got fate.
Are you trying to overcome his position on this place, or are you doing an attack with the narrative effect of trying to blast him away?
So mechanically, what would the difference there be?
Well, if you overcome, then you can knock him out of the zone, but you won't do any physical stress. If you attack him, you will do physical stress, but he won't narratively get knocked out. He'll probably like grab onto something as he flies through the air to keep him in the zone.
Oh no. Well, no, we're overcoming his position.
Okay. I'm gonna have him defend with notice. You gotta like light a fuse. So it's for him to hear that, right?
Fair enough.
Don't forget, since he's using notice, that we got look over here. Just saying.
Yeah, if Big Joe wants to pass that to you. Okay. And you also have your boost vanished, so you have quite a few options here. So go ahead and make a crafts attack. No, a crafts overcome again, and then I'll roll. He's got +4 notice, so
that is a 5 on my crafts overcome.
okay. And I got a 3. I am going to go ahead and invoke one of his aspects. Which aspect do I want to?
Ooh.
I'm going to invoke his aspect, Elite of the Soviet Guard. In that he is a highly trained soldier. He's got great situational awareness. He's able to pick up on even the slightest change in the sound of the battlefield. That'll allow him to hear that, which is going to bring him up to a 5, which is going to tie you.
Okay. I am going to invoke. Oh,
you got your boost if you want to use that.
Oh, is that a free boost?
You can use that whenever. Yeah. Boost.
Yeah. I'm gonna use the boost vanished because he may be able to hear it, but it's still a loud battlefield, and not being able to see it puts him at a slight disadvantage.
Okay, so you plug your ears, and the center of the dirigible explodes in a fiery blast. And the Zharenyy just kind of flies through the air, completely unharmed, but he is no longer on the dirigible.
Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again.
I would like to also, Tommy's gonna, seeing that it might have worked, he's gonna pop up onto deck real quick to see that the Zhareny's no longer there. And when he's not, he's gonna look over the side. He's gonna snag. This is all super narrative, so tell me if this is okay or not. But I'm gonna snag the bullhorn from the deck, and over the side of the dirigible start singing, "God bless America."
All right. So that's gonna end conflict momentarily. He was not defeated. He did not concede. He was not taken out. But the conflict has ended for the moment. That means he's still in play. That's kind of what's important here. So what do you guys do?
We have Chuck, we have Big Joe, we have Tommy, we have no idea where the caravan people are. We haven't seen them. We have no trace. The buildings are all falling apart. Nature's being a bitch. I think we should fly away.
You know what? I'll do you guys a solid. So as you guys are surveying the scene, you see that in the chaos of this battle, the prisoners held by the Dutuoa free somehow. They're free. And they've moved their way to the top of a skyscraper, and they're trying to wave down any of the dirigibles. They don't know which one you guys are on, but you recognize them as your traveling companions.
Okay, how far are we from?
A couple 100 feet.
Is it the building where Mr. Z is now going landed?
You have no idea what happened to Mr. Z.
Okay.
I swear to God, Bill, if you don't go pick up these survivors, Roy is going to come back from the dead and bitch slap you into Thursday.
So as Bill's staring out and he's looking at these people, we just hear this like faint voice. "Shut up, Bill," in the background.
Okay, so narratively, Bill is about to tell the captain to book it. Like, just get the fuck out of here. We got what we needed. Guys off the ship. Ship's in bad shape. Let's get out of here. He sees the survivors. He sees they're flagging for help. He doesn't, like, he knows they're gonna get hurt if he leaves them there. He looks around. No more ship that seems to be willing or close to come by, right?
Yeah. Everyone else is retreating as per the instructions. However, some of the dirigibles were not even that lucky. Some of them are dipping because they've lost a lot of air, and some of them are one of them at least is completely destroyed and it's crashing into the water because the Dutuoa are shooting at you guys, and their weapons are nothing to sneeze at. They punch right through the dirigible, and at close range, some of these dirigibles are getting torn up.
Bill, can I interrupt super briefly?
Sure, go.
I'd like to offer a
Oh no.
I'd like to offer a compel to a character that isn't currently here, so I'm technically offering it to Jaken.
What?
Because NPC at this point.
Oh.
I would like to compel Chuck's 44 on high. Chuck knows that Roy would never leave these people behind, and if there's going to be anyone that looks like they're doing that, Chuck's going to take charge and do whatever it takes to get these people.
Well, normally I would never want to assume what a player would do, but I think we can all agree that Chuck would be on board with accepting that compel. If it's unanimous, I'll let it pass.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's 100% within his character.
Cool. All right. So Chuck, without waiting for Bill, is going to turn to the captain and say, "We got to pick up those people right now. Let's go." And unfortunately, the pilot, he's holding on these controls like this, and he's like, "Did you guys have to blow a hole in the damn hull? And the deck's on fire? Okay, I'll try." He's like trying to steer, but the thing, you guys, the whole thing is smoking, and yeah, it's you guys. The whole thing is kind of swaying back and forth uncontrollably as it kind of tilts and turns. Because,
and at that point,
yeah.
Bill tells to Tommy, "I'm gonna regret this, Tommy, but all bans lifted. Keep this thing afloat."
Yeah. Tommy is now officially going Super Saiyan.
Okay. While Tommy, grabs his toolkit and gets ready, Bill, Big Joe, deck is on fire, and that does need to be dealt with.
I'm sure they probably have thought about some sort of ways to put out fires if something should happen. They got engines on board, so they probably have some, well, not fire extinguisher, but like some sort of material.
Okay.
Are we still within the range of the call ray magic?
Yeah, this whole area is saturated with
it. Yep. Sweet. Then, seeing the deck's on fire and not being able to really move quickly, Big Joe is going to reach out his hand towards the fire and try and draw it in to him, much as he saw his foe, Apuron, do to many of his blasts.
Okay, give me a magic check, challenge 3.
Woohoo! I'm good at that. But with a 2, I am not. But I don't know how what I could do. Could I use the aspect call ray magic? Like if I spend a fate token, could I use? Okay, sweet. I'd like to invoke call ray magic. I mean, seeing as it's so plentiful here, probably the effects might be minor normally other places, but I mean here it's like just in the air. So I'd like to get +2 to kind of have it like snuff out the fire.
Okay. All right. So Big Joe reaches out his hand, and all the fire. At first, something happens, but then it all kind of like lifts up and just kind of gets sucked into his hand, as if it like a big vacuum were just scooping up all the flames. And just then, Bill rushes out with a fire extinguisher, and he's okay.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it somewhere, just in case. We never know.
There you go.
And now Big Joe would like to kind of crawl over to the side and look at what everyone's going on about.
Okay. All right. Tommy. Crafts, difficulty 4.
Yo, got it. That's a 6 on crafts.
All right. This boat is moving. I'm going to go ahead and like get rid of some of these zones that we're not going to be using.
I knew it was going to be the building where Z is.
Nope.
Oh, it got deleted.
Take that, preconceived notions.
Yes, we're really subverting expectations on this show. All right, so you guys come up to the building, and your people are like waving and shouting. However, just as you're coming up, behind the building, you see this massive wave that's taking up the entire bay of what was once Chicago, build up and it's coming in, and it's going to crash over your survivors and hit you guys in just a few seconds.
Bill's not really happy because Big Joe's in bad shape, but he turns to Big Joe and quickly asks, "Is there anything you can do?"
He's already on it, putting out both hands because he's next to the side, kind of like leaning half out. He's going to try and
split the wave. You're going to be moist.
No, maybe not split the wave, but at least keep it at bay long enough for us to kind of get them in GTFO.
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be a high difficulty. I already.
Yeah, so I'm gonna set it at challenge. I think I'm gonna set it at challenge 4, which is pretty high, but not as high as it could be.
Okay. All right, here we go. Gonna try and summon my magic. Okay, dice, don't fuck me. And with a 2, that is not 4.
That is not 4. You rolled a -1, yeah.
Yeah.
Total 2. Thanks to the host.
Once again, gonna invoke Call Ray Magic, and I'm going to re-roll.
Ooh, the gamble. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because just tying it won't do anything, so... Here we go.
Ooh, nice.
You got 4, so you're tied.
I'm succeeding at a cost?
Yep.
Would I get to choose what that cost is?
Yeah, you can propose it, and if I agree, we can do that.
Okay. I would like, and seeing as how bad up and banged up he is, that Big Joe is able to do this, but it's going to cost him his life.
We're only an hour in.
If you have a somewhere else that would, I mean, he's used magic the entire time. I mean, he is draining himself. His limbs are broken. Well, from the waist down, his limbs are broken. So I can't see him having much juice left.
I mean, yeah, that's really narratively dope. What are you gonna do for the next 3 hours, you jerk?
Watch and enjoy.
You got another fate point though.
I do.
And a free invoke if you can make it fit.
I don't think.
Look over here is tied to Zharenyy, so I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, and I have nothing that I could really invoke with that because I've already invoked Call Ray Magic, and I don't think you can invoke anything twice.
In line with what you just said, instead of losing your life, what I'm thinking is you could invoke Shock to the System,
unconscious,
get a +2, but in exchange you're unconscious.
See, I'm down with that. We will do that. Get a +2, so he is gonna like bleed profusely from eyes, ears, nose, and just straight up keep this wave at bay.
All right, so Big Joe extends his hands, and he's weary and broken, and the wave parts, just splits very unnaturally around the skyscraper, and as it does, Big Joe just kind of slumps unconscious. So that wave is just going to crash to either side of you guys. And it takes out the... Yeah, exactly. Just kind of dangling. Your head's starting to get real red with the blood. Yeah, the first 2 skyscrapers this wave hits just get toppled by this wave. And then very quickly, the survivors clamber aboard, and you've rescued everybody. You did it.
We win. Game over.
We leave. We fly away. Like enough interruptions. We leave.
All right. I guess that's gonna be seen as you guys just kind of like putter away. Now your dirigible has taken a lot of damage. You were able to keep it off of just falling apart entirely. But I think even though you were trying to spare your vessel with the detonation of that dynamite, I'm gonna check the second damage box on here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair.
Yeah, because that's yeah. All right, so that is going to be seen. However, all the other dirigibles are pulling ahead of you guys, and you guys are going to be lagging behind. So we're going to do a new scene here, which means I get another fate point. We're gonna add a new scene aspect here. Suggestions for the mood of this scene?
Calm after the storm.
I mean, yeah, that works. It's a bit cliche, but there it is.
We've been going after hers. Anyway.
All right. So your dirigible is limping along, following the other dirigibles a couple hundred feet. Behind you are a pair of dirigibles are coming up, even slower than you guys. Nope, that's the wrong screen. Sorry. Everything kind of falls quiet. And finally, the defector from Mount Detroit is going to look at Bill, and he's going to say, "Where's Roy?"
And Bill's going to explain, when we met with the caravan, being the people supplying these ships, we had a deal to go rescue some of their prisoners, and Roy did more than any of us could, and gave his life to free as many people as he could.
Yeah, the survivors all kind of look at each other and are like, "Oh man, that's not what we were hoping would happen."
Well, he was compelled to save as many people as he could.
What about Hector?
That's what he did. Hector was so loyal to Roy that he followed with, and things didn't go so well for him. It was a victory with high cost, we shall say. But without their sacrifice, you guys wouldn't be on this ship right now.
All right, well, a solemn silence kind of falls over the people you just rescued. As you guys are heading off, you guys are headed towards where the barony convoy is, to kind of like be done with it all. So maybe an hour of flying goes by, and then behind you guys, you catch sight of what looks like a hang glider, bobbing up and down on the wind. A single bright individual.
Oh no, it's not Pierre!
Comes up, and he dives straight, like, between the space between the balloon and... Actually, no, this one, the balloon was on the bottom, was it not? No. That was a different one. Between the balloon and the deck, kind of dives in, and when he lands, the hang glider itself just kind of poofs into brilliant pink smoke and is gone. And he kind of rolls, and he comes to stand with one knee propped up, and he goes, "You thought I had died? You were sorely mistaken."
And Bill, expecting the worst at all times, being the person that he is, can't even apprehend what just happened. The only thing he says to that is, "Careful, I think it could break."
Tommy is gonna like drop whatever he's doing and run over squealing and tackle Pierre and hug him to the...
Okay. Well, of course, Pierre, being the deft swordsman he is, kind of does a spin and moves out of the way, so Tommy's kind of hits the ground. And he says, "I come with news that you all may want to hear." And this Kolrathi kind of struts forward and he says, "I stayed long enough to observe what was going on, and I must report that nature has completely destroyed the Chicago Isles. And there's no sign of that coward Calray." Puh!
Tommy will show solidarity, but also spit it.
Well, that's good news, and I just realized, did anybody attend to Big Joe? We kind of need to make sure he doesn't die.
The big guy is in danger?
Yes, and I'm gonna point to the passed out giant on the deck that's probably not helping the fly.
Pierre saunters over to Big Joe and kind of like tries to drag his head back on solid ground. He's like, I am many things, but I am not a man of great strength. I require assistance.
Tommy's gonna go help him.
We got survivors now, so can I gather the survivors to
everyone pulls Big Joe's heads so that it's no longer dailing over the edge. And then Pierre leans forward. He's like, Big Joe, mon ami, it is time to wake up. And since it's a new scene, all your stress has been cleared. So Big Joe, your eyes kind of like peel open.
Are we serving bacon now?
Oh, I'm sure there will be bacon when we get back to celebrate.
Where are? He's kind of this out of the loop,
Yeah. And Bill is like not so far behind, and he goes, Bill, Big Joe, you did it. You saved us all. And then I'm gonna wave toward all the survivors that are now on the ship.
Oh, well, that's just great. That's what I was going for. So I'm glad that I was able to do it. I'm kind of tired right now, and I'm just going to lay here. I don't think I could get up anyways, but I'm just going to lay here for a bit. But yay. Like, he's trying to be enthusiastic, but he's also like just so broken at this point that like even being happy is like,
wait a moment. Wait, just give me just a second, big guy. Tommy's gonna run back over, pick up the bullhorn, hold it in front of Joe. Do me a favor, say yay.
Meekly, he grabs it. He's just like, a yay. But it's very meek, like he's just drained.
Yeah, he deserves a rest after what he...
Pierre goes, now's not the time to rest, it's time to celebrate! And he draws his fire poker rapier and kind of like swishes it in the air, and purple dust streams out of him and kind of sprinkles 4 of the survivors. And then in poofs of pink smoke, they're suddenly dressed like mariachis with instruments. And he's like, but none of them know how to play said instruments?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You didn't give them the skill.
Except for the guy that got the trumpet, who, unbeknownst to anyone, was a virtuoso back in his...
All right. So just after a pause, the guy with the trumpet just kind of goes, just starts playing it, and he's like, aha! And the other 3 are just kind of stop and just like, okay, very put on the spot. And so you guys listen to the happy trumpet all the way back to the barony's convent.
Because I'm sure a trumpet helps Big Joe sleep. Out of all the instruments.
I mean, music is good regardless of what instrument it is.
All right. So we kind of get a scene of Baron McQuaid talking to everybody, and given Pierre's report, it seems like the battle was won. And so once he's done, congratulating everybody on their efforts and consoling the fact that they lost, both the JCC and the barony have lost swaths of people, lots of dirigibles. Finally, he yields the floor to Debbie Shane. Kind of steps up and she says, some months ago, we met a woman who told us about a place where humans can live safe from nature's wrath, where we can rebuild a community in the Rocky Mountains of Montana. This place, fuck you, Razor. This place was called Erelon. And our visitors, the ones who helped us finally defeat the Chicago Isles. She gestures to all of you. And Big Joe, you've got this big makeshift chair you're sitting in. We know that it's a reality. And I've been talking with the Baron, and we agree that we can't keep living like this. So he has decided to give us the Blimp City. Travel west to Montana. Anyone who would like to come see me. We'll find you places. And anyone who wants to stay, Mr. McQuaid is going to carry on in Illinois. Because we got a good thing going here, and now that the JCC are our friends, actually their leader died, so I think many of them are going to be joining us here. And some of us will be traveling with this. Mysteriously. The bridge gave out, who knew? Then, yes, so you could, if you want to stay here, that's fine, but if you want to find Erelon with me and the visitors who helped us with this great feat, you are welcome to. We can accept anyone and everyone. And she kind of looks at Big Joe and gives him a reassuring nod, like, we're going to bring you too, bud.
Well, that's good, because all this people talk had him worried.
Pierre turns to Tommy, and he puts a hand on Tommy's shoulder. He's like, my friend, it is time for you to go with these humans. They need you. They need a Kolrathi on that Blimp City if it's going to make it all the way to Montana.
Well, I mean, obviously, but what? The only thing better than one Kolrathi is two Kolrathi. So you're coming.
No, all my girlfriends in the tunnel would not accept if I left.
I mean, we can bring them too. What's better than two Kolrathi, but like 27 Kolrathi?
He leans in. He's like, to tell you the truth, my friend, I cannot stand the smell of humans. It is insulting. I shall retreat back to our people. But you seem to handle them really well. And smells.
That's racist, man. That's racist. You can't say that.
It is between you and I. I want to leave on on good terms with these people. So the legend grows. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I got you. Forget about it. You racist bastard.
And so Pierre takes his leave with one last plate of bacon before he goes. And as he inhales deep, Tommy now has a new insight as to why he's doing that.
I mean, to be fair, bacon smells better than anyone.
Truer words have never been spoken. All right, so the Blimp City has been kind of laid flat, but finally they're filling the balloons, and it's starting to rise, and it's taking shape, and it's this big, multi-tiered, dozens of balloons kind of monstrosity, and they start building a chair on a series of pulleys and levers, so that it can kind of, it has vertical and it has a horizontal, so it can traverse the Blimp City, and this chair is rather large for a certain now crippled giant.
And a hero.
Yeah, he's sweet. He is much appreciated to anyone that is taking the time to help him in this endeavor, and he will make sure that his appreciation is known with some kind words.
Okay,
well, you're doing a good job. Much appreciated.
Awesome. All right, well, the three of you are going to gather, and you're going to buy me some time, because I really have to go to the bathroom, so be right back.
Okay. Well,
so you think like they're doing pretty good with this chair. I mean, it's not as good as I could do, but it's a very good chair, and you clearly have earned a place of honor among them. That Storm Dragon guy, I don't like Big Joe. Just it seems not fully appropriate anymore, because you're bigger than big. You're the biggest.
Don't know how big I am now that I no longer can stand, but much appreciated. And if I'm being honest, friend, I was saving a chair built by you till we get to this Erelon. No point of building it now and then having to carry it. Might as well get to our destination. Then you can work at your leisure and build it that way. They might have.
Oh, that's yeah.
They might have things there that you don't have access to here. So just keep it on the back burner for now. Make us some drafts.
I don't think they got wheels quite big enough for what I'm thinking. I don't know. There's this thing that I don't know if you ever saw, but it's pretty big in the Kolrathi Warrens back home. Anything we're putting big ass wheels on, we call them spinner rims. And I think you'd be a fan and make you look much more impressive.
Well, I mean, I'm open to whatever insight you have, so please, friend, feel free to include these spinners at your own leisure.
Oh, you got it. Nothing but the best for you, big guy.
Make sure they do go counter. Don't go clockwise.
Who the hell sets spinner rims clockwise? That's just... Oh no, that's you. No, clearly you know what you're talking about. Clockwise, that's heretic.
I mean, that was PR, but yes, you are 100% in the right. I also thought you were going with monster truck. I was figuring that's where you were going to go. So the spinners are way better than I thought.
I'm just jumping in here. I'm assuming you guys are building him a big wheelchair.
When we get to Erelon, yes, I'm gonna let the humans have their fun with their man chair.
Is it going to be rocket powered? That's the real question.
100%. And if we can't get rockets, I've got this theory. We could put like squirt guns on it. And plaster it in white dress shirts and then fill the squirt guns with spaghetti sauce, and the white dress shirts will be magnetically drawn to the spaghetti sauce, and therefore you can move around that way.
I was also thinking, if that does not work, I've heard a tale of taking cats and putting butter on the backs and then dropping them, and they continuously spin because it doesn't know which way it wants to land.
Yeah. Buttered toast. You got to nail a piece of buttered toast directly to the feline's spine, so that it'll constantly go back and forth because gravity doesn't know what to do. That would have been a slightly more difficult way to handle these zeppelins. I like the simplicity of the balloons.
As opposed to tortured, maimed cats. You horrible bastard.
No,
but at least I'm not a racist.
Yeah. Fucking Pierre.
These humans, while ingenious, do not seem to grasp perpetual motion as of yet. So maybe one day they will catch up with us.
Hopefully not.
I'm sorry,
quick.
Bill. I did not mean any offense by humans. I just meant your species, not like in a pejorative term, just as a culture.
Bill had went to like kind of his his man place in his brain. Since they were now talking about buttered cats that were flipping around, he just like phased out. So when you say his name, he's like, huh? What?
His man place? All right. We all know he was thinking about Debbie Shane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, honestly, we all were.
Everyone likes a strong woman. So, what is your plans now that you are sticking with us, Tommy Two Toes?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the Kolrathi presence is out in this Erelon place out in Montana. But if there's not any out there, If there are any out there, obviously I'd like to make contact and see if we can arrange some sort of cooperative agreement between the settlement, as it were, and any nearby Kilrathi Warrens. But if there aren't, then I'm gonna have to at some point go find one so I can bring at least one back with me so we can start our own Warren. If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Ah, yes. I think I understand. And in Big Joe, we kind of zoom into Big Joe's brain where he's just seeing Tommy 2 and this mysterious new Kilrathi. They're just building like a place. Not for like what, like he means like Big Joe's envisioning like they're just constructing a warren, not like doing anything else. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And you, Bill, what is your plans once we get to this solace that we are all seeking?
I think at this point, I'm just looking forward to laying back with potentially a beer in my hand and just letting time pass without getting shot at, yelled at, trying to be broken by being punched or kicked or thrown stuff at me. I'm looking forward to the rest.
It might even be that people stop telling you to shut up. What's up with that?
An old fad that I hope dies soon.
Well, I cannot wait for this next leg of our journey to embark. It will be quite the...
I don't think our journey is quite ready to go to its next leg yet. We have a problem, and I need you guys to figure out a solution. I don't think Mr. Sergey will leave us. And I believe he's attracted to the tape. Tommy, I know you're not aware of that tape, but we found a tape that is explaining where the Montana refuge is. He wants that, and given his intention, it's not to join it peacefully.
Oh, did that come about? I thought he just was trying to beat us there and didn't want competition.
To an extent, as well, yes. But I'm afraid that if we were to somehow give him the tape, he would obviously go there and destroy everything. And I'm afraid that if we destroyed the tape, he's going to kill anybody who stays with McQuaid.
Well, I mean, big guy, did you not hear him going off when he jumped on the dirigible? He was up there. Hey, I'm going to kill everybody. I am destroyer of worlds. I will eat babies and burn houses and do not nice things to all the kittens. The guy's cracked. He's lost it.
No, I just heard a lot of shouting and gunfire, which at this point is kind of just status quo for this group. But no, I mean, I am very appalled that he is going to hurt all the kittens. What did they do to him?
Exactly. Like, I didn't understand it.
But nailing buttered toast to their spines, that's fine.
They're not kittens.
Oh,
they're full-grown cats. They don't become evil until they mature.
As the channel operator, I do not condone the nailing of anything to cats.
No, neither do we. But
well, I think Vegas might.
Actually, I'm very much a cat person. Right, I love cats.
Carry on. I had to clear that up. As a cat lover at heart, I had to clear that up.
You're just gonna have to start building things. The views expressed by my players, reflect.
I need that flashing every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so we are gonna have to deal with Sergey.
We're calling him Sergey because I don't think we actually asked him his name. He
well,
has a
maybe
Russian
we should.
accent.
I don't understand what one has to do with the other, but maybe we should ask him his name, and then maybe he'll become our friend and not want to be hurting kittens and destroying the world.
I'm gonna go with Tommy here, and I'm fairly certain he's lost it. I don't think he has humanity anymore. I don't think he has sanity anymore. I don't think he's the kind of person you can talk to anymore. I don't even think he qualifies for the name person.
Now, just because someone is different than us does not mean that they are not a person. I figured you, of all people, Bill, would know this better than most.
I would agree with your argument. However, and I'm going to ask you, have you ever seen someone lose so much or go through so much that they no longer think, they no longer are themselves? They're gone, essentially. Have you ever?
They're just broken.
More than broken. They're
Bill, hey, too soon.
Especially after the leg comment previously.
Yeah.
It's just been slowly building.
I know we just talked about this not happening anymore, but shut up.
Well, my point
no, please
being, my point being is that I don't think he's coming back from where he is in his mind. We've tried talking on the ship. I did try to diffuse the situation. I did try to get to the point of what he needed or what he wanted to try and crack the shell and hopefully make him an ally. He was clearly hearing none. Started gunning down people left and right just because he could. So I'm kind of afraid that he's not the kind of person that can be saved using words.
So we need to get him a new map for his mind?
If we have a way to do this, yes.
Wait. Big guy. I know you can do the magic stuffs, but that's I heard that's a Call Ray thing, mind mapping. Like, is that something you can do?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'm learning that I can and can't do. But I have also heard of mind mapping and thought that maybe we could at least give it a shot before we just, kill somebody again. Every time we seem to turn to the more easy, violent route, it does not go the way we want it, and we end up losing a lot.
Well, the good news is I was not planning on killing him per se. The guy is invulnerable, does not need to breathe, and cannot be armed by normal weaponry. So I was thinking we encase him in concrete. He won't die, but he won't be able to harm anyone anymore.
Tom, you may know this better than I would. Could he just melt the concrete because he is just so damn hot?
Well, I mean the transition point for concrete between solid and it's not quite a liquid state, but it's the heat required for that is considerable. I don't know if it's anything that we are technologically capable of, but clearly Boris ain't relying on technology for what he does. So maybe.
All right. Well, I mean, as long as this is not going to be futile, then certainly we should at least try. Maybe this casing him in concrete. Do you know where we can get a bunch of concrete?
And that's where we need to talk about McQuaid about this, and you might not be happy to hear about this guy following. I'm not too keen on lying, but I'm not too keen on hiding the truth either.
Oh no! If we gotta lie, I'll do it. I'm fine. I'm good.
I would also rather not lie. when you lie and you're just getting yourself in trouble twice. If you get found out, once for lying and once for lying again, like the reason you lied. So might as well just be upfront. What's he gonna do? Kick us out? I mean, we're leaving anyways.
I mean, that's a valid point, but any opportunity to lie is a fun opportunity.
That has not been my experience, but once again, I'm learning a lot about myself as these last few days and what I am okay with and what I'm not. So maybe it is good to lie.
I mean, if you guys don't want to, we don't have to. I'll just lie to someone else because, why not?
Big Joe's going to put his hand, or in this case, like a finger, on Tommy's shoulder. If you need to, friend, you can lie to me. I will be that person.
I would never lie to you.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. That's very kind of you.
That was a lie, Bill.
God damn it.
Big Joe's just in here. That just kind of feels good about himself. As good as he can in his broken, beaten state.
All right. So, you guys are going to go talk to McQuaid?
Yar.
Right.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to.
He's a busy man, but of course he'll make time for you guys. You guys set things into motion that has given him full control over Illinois. So, yeah, he makes time to meet you guys. He comes to you because, while Tommy has been hard at work, the wheelchair is not ready. He says, "My friends, what can I do for you?"
We have a situation that is not easy to deal with.
All right.
And we may require your help for it.
What kind of help?
Out of curiosity, were you watching what was unfolding on the dirigible that we were on as we were coming back to join with the...
I saw it catch fire.
Okay, well, you partially saw what the issue is. So,
totally not my fault, by the way. I just want to put that out.
No, actually,
there was also an explosion.
I would like to point out that Tommy's the reason why the ship's held. So,
yeah, let's go with that one.
He's the reason why the ship stayed afloat and managed to do everything it did to save all the people it did. So, big applause to Tommy. He actually followed my orders, did not modify the dirigible until I...
I understand. Tommy, thank you. I need to know what the problem is and how I can help.
Okay. I will make it clear. A while ago, we met with a Russian man, and yes, he actually comes from Russia, from what we understand. A Russian man who is made literally out of fire, or better described as the crust of the earth. We have tried numerous times to incapacitate him, stop him, lose him, everything. We tried everything. And he seems to be an immovable force that keeps going forward by himself toward... I'm not quite clear yet if it's us or a tape that is in our possession that leads to the same area that Debbie Shane is going to right now. And now you might be wondering, why is this your problem? It's because if we keep the tape with us, he's going to follow us all the way to the safe haven. And I'm sure you don't want to allow that. If we destroy the tape, I'm afraid that he might take revenge on anyone in the area. And if we hide the tape, same situation.
I see.
So he kind of need to be stopped.
I'm just going to interject here real quick. Bill, lying would have been quicker. I'm just saying.
All right. He says, "Okay, I see. Well, what do you have in mind to stop this fireman?"
Well, I don't have the best plan in the world, but I'm thinking he can walk underwater for a long distance, so he doesn't need to breathe. So we can't choke him. We can't remove hair around him to choke him and make him die. We've tried weaponry, guns and whatnot. He seems to just absorb the blow. I remember our friend Big Joe using magic on him, and he just seems to shrug it off like it's wind over a concrete barrier. So I'm thinking the only way I can see to stop him would be to actually stop him in his track and make him unable to move. One of my train of thought would be to somehow encase him in concrete. I'm not quite sure how we can get to do that, or if we can even find enough concrete to do this, but I'm figuring that if we get the concrete, we could encase him in concrete, and hopefully he can't break free out of it.
We don't have any concrete. The problem with concrete is it needs to be, held in a liquid state or it solidifies, which is what you want it to do. And we don't have the infrastructure to maintain that. I think maybe if I ask around, we might have the components to mix into concrete, but we don't have anything to. You'd have to lay your trap and have him fall into it or whatever you're going to do to it in a very short period of time.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned that, if we dug a hole deep enough, made him fall into the hole, and cover him with dirt, he would be encased, dirt cannot burn, and trying to dig his way out of it would be almost impossible, because the weight of it would just keep falling down on.
At that point, Bill remembers that this guy manhandled Big Joe. So
Fair
he's
enough.
incredibly strong.
No, that won't work.
And he says, "Yeah," and also he kind of looks at Tommy. He's like, "What's to stop a Kohlrabi from accidentally freeing him? Just, extending their tunnels." Why?
That's a fair point too.
Well,
Okay. So modified plan. You said you might have the components for concrete, but you don't
Maybe.
necessarily have so maybe, but you don't have the infrastructure nor the technological know-how to create a mixer for.
Right. We wouldn't be able to transport it.
I might be able to help.
Okay.
And then we might be able to attach said mixer to a couple of dirigibles. And then we might be able to fly them over top of this hole.
That's a very precise action. These dirigibles don't stop on a dime.
If it's a big enough mixer and a big enough hole, a little bit of splash ain't gonna hurt nothing.
If you can find a way to finagle it, yeah, we'll work with you. I don't want some invincible murder machine waltzing into my territory. I have crops and beyond that people who I would like to not be burned.
and I would like to say we call him invincible because we used the caliber of rifles and machine guns that we had on hand. We haven't tested a howitzer shot directly to him, but I'm figuring out it might slow him down, but I don't think it's gonna stop him. But again...
Wait, what? You haven't used the bigger bangier guns on him yet?
Well, he shrugged off normal bullet, like they're flies being, like, just flying at him. Like, he really does not care about project.
I would like to point out, shrugging off a fly and shrugging off a giant murdered dragonfly trying to eat your face and leaving a really neat scar are two completely different things.
Whatever resources and weapons you need that we can bring to bear to take this guy down, I will make sure they're at your disposal. If it's concrete, if it's one of our artillery dirigibles, anything you need. If it's both, make it happen. The Iron Rose escaped the carnage. minor repairs need to be done, but the howitzer still operational. And then Captain will definitely sign up to fight alongside y'all once more. You've definitely got her attention.
Shoot him. I don't understand what the question is here. Like, bigger, bangier guns.
Okay, well, the question, Tommy, is, what if it doesn't work? What's the next step?
Then we do the mind mapping.
How do we keep him in place enough to even try the mind mapping? Because he's going to be shooting. He's going to be fighting. He's going to be, well, I was going to say angry, but he's already...
You hold him in place. You shoot him with the bigger, bangier gun. You hold him in place with the concrete, and then you mind map him. It's a 3-pronged attack. It can't fail. Vegas has no idea what Tommy's talking about anymore.
Flying by the seat of his tool belt.
Well, call me pessimist here, but yes, it can probably fail. That's why we need as many...
Gentlemen, if we shoot him with an artillery piece, drown him in concrete, and then whatever the heck mind mapping is, and he still gets up, we would be out of options anyway.
How
Sounds
many
fair.
kittens do you have? We might be able to distract him.
No.
He just kind of looks down at Tommy like, what?
They had this lengthy... Just no.
Well, I mean, that would work. He does want to kill all kittens.
No. He wants to eradicate the people that are basically causing all these issues, which in his mind is everyone.
Including
The issues of kittens? I mean, doesn't
Yeah,
seem
but
like...
he's not going to go for them first.
So, gentlemen, do we have a plan?
Wait, we do? Was that...
I'm asking.
Was that a plan? Oh, okay.
I don't think the kittens is going to work.
No, we can ignore that part.
No,
So-
there's totally a plan. Bigger, bangier gun, concrete bath, mind mapping.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, so here's the problem I can see. Although you are right, a 3-prong attack is unfallible. The question is, if we hit him with the bigger, bangier gun, as you mentioned, it is probably going to blow him out of the hole that we're trying to then dump concrete onto.
Well, I think
that's...
we would lead with the howitzer.
And
Well,
blow him into the hole.
No, I don't expect us to be accurate, but we can lead him to a hole after.
We hit him in the chest with an artillery round.
Right.
And if that doesn't stop him, plan B is the concrete. And if that
But how do
doesn't,
we get him into a hole?
that's
Just
up,
lead him.
that's up to you.
That's where the kittens come in.
The kittens
No.
are not an option.
You, sir, are short-sighted.
Okay. This is a gamble. We could use the tape as bait.
Well, I come to the conclusion we don't need. So as long as he doesn't end up in possession of it intact, I really don't care. We can use it as bait.
Okay. So, hit him with the howitzer. If that does not work, we have a giant hole dug with maybe a bunch of this cement hidden from his side with some of our good friend here's people. They are rather crafty at camouflaging things. And then we get him the tape's in the hole. He jumps into the hole. Ha-ha! Activated our trap card. And then all of a sudden, we just pour concrete down on him. It quickly dries. John's your uncle, as they say. Is it John? Tom? Some fellow is your uncle.
I think it's Steve.
All right, Steve. All right. You know the sayings better than I do. So, does that sound like a plan? And then I don't know I forget what the third prong was.
The mind mapping.
Mind
mapping.
That's you, big guy.
And that's actually pretty good because if it works, and we need to be sure it works, then we can achieve your peaceful resolution that you wanted, Big Joe, and free him from the concrete. Might take a while.
I think once we bury him in concrete, he's going to be rather ornery after that. So there's probably no turning back.
In that case, we forget the third prong. It's straight up, a wizard to the chest, bait into the hole, concrete into the hole, and hopefully that's the last we hear of.
All right, that does sound like a plan.
Okay.
And for once, I'll think positive, and the Owitzer will work, and that's it.
All right. So you're gonna dig a hole, and you're gonna build some tubes that will dispense concrete. What is the what's the triggering mechanism on those?
Probably some like a manual lever.
Okay.
No, for something like this, a lever's not going to work. It's going to have to be a big red button.
All right, but as long as it is manual, that we leave it up to chance. Okay.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Right. Crafts difficulty 4 to make the tunnel and the delivery system.
To make the button.
Just the button.
Just the button.
That's a 6 on crafts.
That's a 6.
Don't
All right.
be my
So the phase 2 is operational. Now you do need to make the concrete. Are you skilled in resources?
Nobody is, because you told us it was a useless skill.
I said it will likely not come up.
I had it at one point, and then I got rid of it.
Then I'll let you roll crafts again, I guess. Or lore, actually.
Oh yeah, I don't have that.
I think Chuck is gonna yeet all over this scene because I think Chuck's like lore
has
boy.
That stunt.
Yes, he that's his highest skill. So so Molly, if you're watching this, you're gonna save the day here. You're gonna make concrete.
You say that you've been rolling abysmally.
I will let Chuck have their fate points, and then it's gonna be challenge 4. Okay.
That's me.
And it's gonna it's got a 4, so it's a tie. So Chuck is going to oof.
Doesn't Chuck have a I read about that?
No.
Not anymore, but it says literature.
Yeah, a literal literature student. None of Chuck's aspects work.
Aspirations of vengeance. He might have read in a book about cement shoes, so he learned how to make cement. Godfather style.
Which is a movie that doesn't come out for another 15 years.
Damn it.
Does Chuck have any appropriate stunts for rolling lore?
Let's check.
I think it's all of Chuck's the stunts are for other people.
That checks out, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't track. All right. Well, what we'll do then
Succeed at a cost.
is succeed at a cost. Unfortunately, making that concrete was just so tiring that Chuck, gosh darn it, isn't going to be able to be there at the final encounter.
Oh,
he really needs a nap.
Okay, that's
pulled an all-nighter.
He's earned it. That little guy. I tell you what.
All right, and I think that's it, right? You got the concrete. You got the trap. Oh, you need to because the trap. Okay, and then digging the hole isn't really going to be a big deal.
I mean, at that point, I'll just hop down into the Warrens and recruit a bunch of Kolrathi to dig a hole.
Roll rapport. Challenge 2.
I don't have rapport. I have contacts. Is that appropriate?
Contacts is absolutely appropriate. Challenge 2.
That's a 1. So I'm absolutely going to stepping out of Pierre's shadow because Pierre's not leading the day on this heroic venture. This is now Tommy Tuto's. He's in charge now. I guess I'm in charge.
No. Yes, all right. I accept. That's going to be a last fate guy. Mine. Sorry. And that is going to... Okay, so the traps are set. You guys send out scouts, and you learn that, yes, in fact, the Zharenyy, or Sergey, as he's been so lovingly named.
I thought we were calling him Alexei.
I thought it was Boris.
I thought it was Ivan.
So, Russian is on his way. So the scene aspect for this scene will be, easy. Scene aspect is, it's a trap.
Ah!
Yep.
All right. So, it's about midday the next day. The preparations have been made. You guys have your pit. Is the tape already in the pit, or is someone holding on to that?
Did we want to...
Tape's already in the pit.
Okay. Now, since this is player-driven, I will need somebody on the Iron Rose to direct the shot. This will either use drive or shoot.
I suck at both, but I got token.
Okay, so Bill is going to be on the Iron Rose. And Tommy and Big Joe, you guys are, Western style, facing off across the plains as he approaches.
I mean, I'm sitting, but yeah.
And in a reference to nothing at all, it's not a reference to anything. What happens is that somebody's just like in the forest looking at the pit, and he goes like, "Wait, where's the big guy?" And like Big Joe's right behind him in a chair, and he goes like, "Ah!" Reference to Game of Thrones. Sorry.
Why'd you remind everybody that it's going to be on in 8 minutes? Thank you. All right. So he is holding, as he approaches, he's holding one of the Dutoa staffs, but he can't fire it. He's just holding it like a spear in one hand as he's kind of approaching. And yeah, when he gets about maybe 50 feet from Big Joe and Tommy, he stops. And he looks up and he sees the Iron Rose kind of like hovering above. And he looks across and he says, "What is this?"
Well, we are hoping that maybe we could at least once again try to have some sort of parlay to convince you of the errors of your ways.
Let me tell you something, Giant. For 5 years, my life has been agony, and my wake has been ash. I know where I am in this world. I know my calling. I know what I must do. You will tell me where this safe haven is, so I may destroy it and return the power to nature. Or I will pry the information from your dead hands.
Speaking of hands, Bejo goes,
All right,
and
Bill.
hopefully,
And I fricking shoot the howitzer!
Alright.
there is an earth-shattering boom.
He is going to use athletics to try to get out of the way of this.
There is supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
He's got a +4 athletics. If you hit, this is weapon 3, because it's a howitzer.
Only 3?
Alright, so you got a 3, and I got a 2.
So right now I hit.
Yep.
Okay.
You hit.
So that would be...
I love how you're waiting. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. So I'm doing 4 damage right now in theory. In
So,
theory.
After the thunderous boom, the howitzer kind of boom. The round flies true. Bill was on point, and everyone watches as this round impacts the Zharenyy, and he goes flying back in a kind of digs into the ground as he goes, and he flies back a good 20 feet, and then he gets up, and he kind of pulls himself out of the hole that was kind of imprinted in him. His chest is smoking, and the fragments of his body are like really cracked all along his torso. But then he comes to stand, and he just kind of cracks his neck, and then he picks up the staff spear weapon and starts walking back towards Big Joe and Tommy, and he starts picking up the pace. And as he's coming at you guys, weapon ready, and up in the air, Bill frantically yells, "Reload!" That's when we're going to go to our break. So, when we come back from break, we will see the final confrontation. One side wins, and the other loses. The adventurers of Neosoma, the heroes of the campaign, versus their greatest enemy, the Russian Zharenyy. Two groups enter, one group leaves. So, we'll be back hopefully around 10 after. It might go a little long, depending on how long the toddler takes. And then we will resume, and we'll see where this takes us. So, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for choosing to spend your evening with us, and I hope everybody's having a good time. And we'll be back with more Dire Roll Neosoma. Hey, we're back. Took a little bit. You're lucky I actually remembered to transfer the screen over this time. Sorry, it took a little bit longer than I wanted. The toddler is 3. And now he's banging on his door, so it's going to be a long night for me. But we're going to pretend that's not happening, and we're going to press on. First and foremost, shout out to Zothia. Subscribed for 3 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm getting distracted by the household stuff here for a moment. But yeah, buddy. I'm sure my wife can handle it. So I'll try not to focus on it, and we'll just press on. It's hard to turn that off, especially when it's like 10 feet away. All right. So the Zharenyy is running at you guys. So we're gonna go into initiative right out of the gate. We're also gonna go ahead and freaking move over to the game screen. Oh, you know. These past few weeks, I've been getting dropped frames, but today, of all days, I have 0 dropped frames. But next time I stream, I'll have Google Fiber. So I think that's why it's behaving, because it's like, no, don't do it, don't do it.
Don't leave me.
Oh, I'm leaving you. We're getting that Google. All right. So there we have it. The Zharenyy is going to go first. Now.
Serious,
yes. So he is sprinting over, holding this spear. And he comes to a halt rather abruptly, and he points upward, and he's going to hurl the spear at the Iron Rose.
Okay, well, I'm not a dragon. I'm going to tell the Iron Rose to try and move to the...
Stop with the references. They're not gonna age well.
Also, I don't know what you think the blimp can do. It's not like
no. I did it for the sake
for
of
the reference. Yeah. I get it.
You did it to annoy me. I understand. All right.
That's my job. That's the only reason you invited me.
We're gonna
I need that in lack of options.
Yeah, we're gonna need a new 4th next campaign. All right, so he's going to overcome with shoot, which he has a +5 in. I'm gonna set the difficulty. He's basically trying to break the howitzer with this magic spear. I'm gonna set the difficulty probably to 4. I think that's high enough. Got a 1. What? The toddler ordered you to give me a hug. Oh, yeah. What a bro. No, actually, I rolled a 1, which means I got a 6, which means he does succeed. So this brass-colored spear flies through the air and then smashes into the howitzer, and you hear this mechanical breaking sound, and the Iron Rose lurches for a moment as the gun is now non-operational. Big Joe.
First, while the spear is being thrown, he says, "I don't think you could throw you." Oh, and you did. All right. That is not exactly how I pictured this event to go down.
Me neither.
Guys, phase 2. No, I'm sorry. Guys, it's time to go to Plan B.
Well,
This is the
seeing as
best
conventional
character invention.
Seeing as conventional weaponry has failed, Big Joe is going to start off strong and is going to attempt to create.
Finish your thought.
Well, he's trying to awaken some magic.
Okay. I do want to say, if anyone has any renamed mild consequences, get rid of them. Should have done that before the fight, but do it now. So if you have renamed mild consequences, get rid of them.
Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna try to get some magic going.
Yep.
Give me that magic. What are you trying to conjure? I assume altar.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and hold on. I should do this before. I was going to go altar, but then I'm like, oh, I could maybe do something else. You know, I'm just going to go altar just because.
In order to do the mind thing, you're going to need both altar and sense up.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start with altar then, because
Okay.
I was scrolling through our conversation about the magics, and that would have taken a while. So yeah, let's start off with some altar, and then see how that goes. But with some magic on my fingertips with a 3.
What do you want to call it?
How's trap magic?
God, I want to make a joke. God, I want to make a joke. All right, trap magic.
You know this? I am drink.
Bill, you're up.
Well, I'm stuck on top of a ship that can't shoot anymore.
That is correct.
So no, actually, I don't want them. Well, we're far. Well, far-ish, right?
I mean, you're in the
You want me
air.
to crash the fucking ship into the guy?
Probably a lot of howitzer rounds in that thing.
Yeah, but the people on board might not be able to get off on.
The parachutes are for.
There's parachutes on this thing?
Hell yeah! You expect a bunch of people to go up in the air and be like, oh darn, we forgot our parachutes in our highly flammable flying device.
Fair enough. In that case, that changes my plan entirely.
Wait, what's a parachute?
Something that the sky people use. You wouldn't know
The
about
sky people. So, I'm gonna take a shot at him with my M1 Garand and then go for a parachute.
Are you gonna convince? Or are you parachuting? Or are you gonna try to? Are you actually okay? What's your plan long term?
Shoot him once and then get to the ground.
Okay, proceed.
So I'm gonna shoot him from the ship.
All right.
If you can throw a spear up to me, I can piss him off by shooting him once.
He's gonna defend with notice.
Ooh.
He's
Well,
got
I'm
a
not
+4. You got a 1. I got a 4.
Yeah, okay, so here the shot just dodge away because we're too far. Then I grab a parachute and I'm gonna ask the captain. I don't. Wait, I did military training, so I probably did parachute training. Am I high enough? Am I dangerous? really close to the ground, or can I just jump?
Well, parachute training would be a specific. Like they don't give that to everybody.
Paratrooper. I might not have done paratrooper. Okay, as a captain, am I high enough? Can I just jump and open this? When do I open this?
The engineer comes up and he goes, "Just go!" and pushes you.
Oh shit! Well, I probably count to 3 in my head, so I'm far down enough, and then I open the parachute because I don't want it to get snagged on the.
I just wanted an excuse to play the engineer one last time. All right. Yeah. So your chute deploys. You're fine, Tommy.
He's throwing spears at dirigibles.
With success.
What am I exactly supposed to do in this particular situation?
I think what you meant to say was, what can man do against such reckless hate? No, new guy, we're not playing 3.5.
How far away from the hole that we dug and trapped and whatnot?
Y'all. Where did you want? Would you want it right next to you, between the two of you, behind you, to the side? It's y'all's hole.
I mean, I would have assumed it was between, because the hole, he walks up and then stops, and we stare each other down across the hole.
Okay, so he is probably closer to the hole now because he's closed quite a bit of distance than you are, but he hasn't crossed over it. Is it covered or is it just a pit?
I'm assuming it's just a pit because we put the tape down there.
Yeah, you would want him to. Yeah.
So I'm gonna. Okay, listen, shithead. You
should have called him Suka, but okay.
Look. I don't speak Das Vidanya, okay?
I don't speak Kami.
Listen, Rasputin. This is stupid. You're stupid. We're stupid. All of this is stupid, okay? You want the tape? There's the goddamn tape. And I'll point down into the hole. Quite frankly, I encourage you to get it as quickly as you can. Because, you see this? I'll hold up the big red button. I'm planning on blowing it to shit. But, you know, I'm a little lethargic, so it might take me a moment to hit the button.
Okay, you're going to be overcoming something. Probably, I guess, deceive. Because there was a lot of... You spun a lot of BS.
Yep. I'm assuming contested? Or just a straight overcome, whatever.
No, you'll contest it with empathy, in which he has a +2.
How does this son of a bitch have empathy?
He knows how to read people.
No. I don't think this asshole truly read up on what it means to be a fucking sociopath. Because he clearly is. So he... bastard.
Well, he wasn't always a man burned alive.
That's a 4 on deceive.
I got a 1. All right, he buys it hook, line, and sinker.
And then basically, I'm just going to wait for him to get to the bottom-ish of the hole, and then I'm pressing the big red button. That wasn't a lie.
Okay. The Zharenyy, he looks to the hole you mentioned, looks back at you briefly, and then runs up to the edge of it and looks down, and there in the dried dirt of this hole is the tape. And he jumps down and he lands next to it. And he picks it up. And in his eyes, you know, his facial, the cracks in his skin, he's apprehensive. And he starts to pull the tape and he's looking up at the sun with it. And then in his hands, film starts to melt.
Uh-oh.
And he grabs more of it.
What a malook!
And it starts to melt, and he's like, "Niet, niet, niet."
Da.
Big Joe, your turn.
First of all, Big Joe looks at Tommy and says, "You are lucky he did not just kill you and stop the button from being pushed."
Good thing he only had one spear, am I right?
Okay. Well, it went so swimmingly earlier. Let's try to really tap into some magic and what was the other type that he'd have to awaken?
Sense.
Sense? Yeah, let's just open his third eye, or mind's eye, up to the world.
Let's do.
Here we go. Go magic!
Ooh, you get a free.
Oh,
You get
nice.
a free invocation on this. So what do you want to call the sense magic, or do you want to tack it on to trap magic?
No, we'll have, in case I want to use one over the other. So for sense, and it's going to be, I was going to say almost like trapless as in tactless, but that doesn't work. We'll just go sensational.
Just sensational, not sensational magic.
No, this sense-ational, like hyphened in between sense and ational.
Get out.
Like that?
Would you prefer I went with sense 8?
I watched that first season of that show. It was pretty good. I heard season 2 went off the rails, though, which is very common of the directors.
Mm-hmm.
They start strong, and then they nosedive. Is that what you wanted? Sensational?
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
I mean, you can type it, and I can fix it if it's...
Yeah, no, it's all right. That's
Okay.
I mean, that's how I wanted it spelled. I had a couple ideas that were too like convoluted even compared to that. So
Got it. Okay, Bill. You land.
Okay.
Give me. I mean, I'll make it the check really easy. And this isn't your action. Give me a difficulty 1 athletics check to make sure you don't bust ass when you land.
Done. I got a 4.
You did it.
Yes. So I'll run over closer to the peeps, and I'm gonna ask. Well, as I'm looking over, I'm gonna say like, "Hey," and I most likely notice or hear that he's in the.
Yo, someone's got a cat and a parachute emoji, and I'm just impressed.
GG.
I'm just flat out impressed. To have that, like, how often does that come up?
Yeah.
That person's Fate of the Moon is probably like, now's my time. Finally, I can use this emoji.
I have waited for this moment for years.
So, Bill, you're good?
Oh,
It's
well,
not? It looks like it. Shit.
Holding a 10 out of 10.
Oh, it's a cat. It's a cat holding a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry.
Well, nice.
You know, from like the foot and a half and the very tiny screen on my phone where I reach at, it looked exactly like a cat parachuting. So you know what? That's my headcanon.
Headcanon accepted.
There's not much I can do really at this point, so I'm just gonna point my gun, like take a position to shoot in case he somehow climbs out. That's
Okay.
it.
So you waste everyone's time. Tommy, you're up.
I push the button.
Okay. I don't think I need to have you make a roll for that. We already rolled to build the damn thing.
Yep.
So what happens when you push the button? Is it just the button has been pressed?
The button has been pressed. The I was going to say figurative, but the literal floodgates open, and cement just fills everything, the entire world.
And knowing Tommy, he probably found a tiny speaker that says "pata pa," and then like he found a little thing with the confetti that goes like poof.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the button has like a little tube sticking out of it, and all day people are like, "What's the tube for?" And don't worry about it. And he pushes it, and confetti just shoots out of it.
Headcanon also accepted.
All right. So the concrete comes out of these two pipes and starts filling up the hole. And as far as y'all can see, to the top of the hole, you see that gray, amorphous goo kind of raised to the top. And then an arm comes out of it and grabs onto the side. And Zharenyy starts pulling himself out of it, covered in steaming concrete mix. That's all he can do, though. He's coming out of the tunnel. And that's going to be Big Joe's turn.
Push him back in.
Oh my god. How? Oh, man. Okay, this is something I need to converse with Tommy real quick. Vegas, how close would Tommy have gotten to the hole? Like, would he have been 5 feet away from it?
Oh, no, he would have been pretty much as close to the edge as possible to make sure that it went off without a hit.
Excellent, because Big Joe's going to line up with him. And, Jakin, we can see that the cement is melting off of him, like just burning off him, not hardening.
Like in the exposed areas. It is starting, like it's starting to crust around him, but there's also some steam billowing up.
Okay.
Honestly, I looked up what happens to concrete when it gets hot. He does not produce enough heat to actually steamify all the water.
Sweet.
But yeah, I was just kind of narrating that he himself is just kind of like when he emerges, the heat off of him kind of bursts forth as a steam, as it was being contained within the concrete. I didn't want to. I'm sorry, that was my bad for putting off that false.
Yeah, no,
signal.
I just want to. I mean, that does change things. Oh my god. And god damn it. You're making me do this, Jakin. You're making me do this. Joe's going to try and tackle him back into the concrete.
But the magic...
The magic that may or may not work versus concrete that will most likely work. It's a gamble. I'm hedging my bets, honestly.
All right. It's your call. I don't need a... Well, actually, you don't have any legs.
Legs, yeah, so I figured there's an athletics.
An overcome physique challenge. 2?
I'll laugh if I fail this.
Throw me at him! Well, I mean, you succeed with a cost, but I think we know what the cost is.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was hoping to drive him down and then escape, but yeah, with a cost, and it's not like I can spend fate tokens, because I had an escape route planned off, because he's a dragon and can conjure flames, but yeah, cool. Not how I expected that roll to go. I shouldn't have taunted them. Yeah, I have to accept it, so.
I'm trying to see if you can use your free invocation of sense. Sensational.
So not with sense magic.
If you had control magic up, that would easily save you.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. What's trap magic again? But that's not something you can...
That's not a free invoke.
Yeah, he's got the free invoke on sensational. And sense magic is just basically ESP. So
yeah,
I don't know how I can pull him out of this.
No, it was a gamble.
What did you roll, man? A not -1. Oof.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I mean, since it's the finale, I was gonna say I could compel shock the system on him that he wants to do this to obviously try to solve the situation, but given that he did not succeed in parlaying with the guy, and Big Joe's more of a peaceful kind of guy, he's gonna regret doing this to a human
the
being.
reason
but
I haven't
as if not.
compelled these 2 blank spaces is because compel has to complicate the situation.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like it would complicate future situations, but there's none. So
Yeah.
I can't find a way to compel.
Yep.
him.
No. As I mentioned, I had an escape plan before the stuff hardened. I had a way out, and I went with it. That's cool. Let's go.
All right. So Big Joe lunges pushes himself off of his wheelchair, then drives himself straight into the Zharenyy, and they both go glooping into the concrete. How deep was this pit?
I mean, how much time did the Kolrathi have to dig?
All night?
30 feet?
Okay. Good, I guess. If it was less than 15 feet, then Big Joe could just handstand at the bottom. You can grab his legs and pull him up. But if it's 30 feet deep, all right. So the Joelite Big Joe and the Zharenyy disappear into the gray goo, and a single air bubble comes up and goes bloop. And Tommy and Billy are just standing there.
Well,
so this is where you had Plan C, and you're gonna get him out now.
Well, what Bill's gonna do is that he has his M1 Garand, and he's gonna desperately shove the M1 Garand in the cement, try and make some breathing tunnel back so that at least Big Joe doesn't die. But obviously he can't reach 30 feet, so at this point he's kind of desperate.
But the plan the plan was infallible. I don't.
Bill's just desperate, and he turns around to Tommy and he yells, "Get some hair to him!"
But no, that's not how this was supposed to work. No, Bill, what? You've got another plan. Get him out of there.
Get air to him.
I don't know what to do here. Vegas is kind of drawing a blank as well.
We didn't plan for somebody falling into that goddamn.
Oh. If Jakin will allow this, Tommy's just gonna go on gut instinct and drop into one of the Kolrathi hatches nearby and try to see if there's like anything underneath this pit that we dug that he can blow out and completely like drain it. And he doesn't even care if that means it fills the Kolrathi tunnels for a little bit. He's just gonna all he can think of is drain the pit.
If you do that, and you save Big Joe, you will save the Zharenyy.
Right, but the only skin in this game that Tommy has is Big Joe. Like the Zharenyy, we could figure something else out here.
Okay.
I realize as a player, no, we can't. But Tommy, the character, doesn't realize. And the player also realizes that by doing this, he may wind up drowning himself in concrete in a.
Okay. But is there
Not
a
my pit.
Korathi hatch that leads to that?
I mean, there would have to be a hatch nearby for them to have gotten out here to dig the tunnel. Right, exactly. That's why I'm saying if you allow it, that's something that Tommy would. Right now, he's looking for a hatch.
I'm gonna go with no. I don't think there's a tunnel that leads directly to your pit. That would be an escape route for the Zharenyy. You didn't expect one of you guys to be in there, so you wouldn't have put it up against a Korathi tunnel. So Tommy searches his memory and searches around in vain. Did you guys plan to cover the pit once the Zharenyy was in there? Because concrete takes a while to set.
I mean, knowing that it takes a while to set, I would assume there would have been a plan to cover it yet. I don't know what with.
Probably some steel beams or something like that. Something heavy, at least.
Okay. Are you going to entomb your friend in order to stop the Zharenyy?
Well, Bill will keep trying to somehow get air to Big Joe. So he's probably gonna try to, as stupid as it sounds, shoot into the cement in an angle that he hopes doesn't hit Big.
Your bullet just kind of goes.
I know, right? It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But Bill is out of options.
Tommy's gonna make an executive decision.
Okay.
There's no way to get in to drain it to save Big Joe. And in the panic of trying to figure that out, that he's logicking through it, and no, saving Big Joe is going to save Titania. So he's going to pull the mechanism to cover it.
Okay.
Because Joe clearly knew what he was doing. And he's got magic, so he can get out later. It'll be fine.
Okay. So you have entombed the site.
Yep.
I guess. And narratively speaking, I have to say, Bill would probably be enraged that since the cement had not set yet, that Tommy did that. So
it's a good thing his gun is covered in concrete, so it won't work anymore.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? Let's make it an actual thing. So full of rage, Bill for a split second only sees red, points his gun at Tommy, says, "What have you done?" He clicks to shoot out of rage. Gun fucking jams, because, cement and everything. He throws the gun to the side and rushes at Tommy, like, full of rage, but midway through the run, it dawns on him that, like, there's no saving Big Joe. He's never gonna see Big Joe again, and it just, like, he falls to his knees and, like, full of defeat, like, his shoulders slump. One of his aspects being he was always expecting the worst. Well, he did not expect that.
Now we just need to figure out a way to kill off Chuck so that Bill can really have it driven home.
Jesus. Tommy loaded the gun.
Where's Chuck? Wasn't he at the bottom of the pit?
No, Chuck was taking a nap.
I know.
Someone from the JCC saw what Chuck did. They came back for revenge.
Oh, no.
No. Incorrect. Alright, we're gonna have a slow fade to black. Of direct overhead kind of pull back shot of the slab, like encasing it with with Tommy. He's just standing there and Bill on his knees. Let me fade to black. And then the next scene. I guess we have to. Is Tommy gonna continue? Excuse me, gonna continue on with the humans?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next scene is the Blimp City, airborne, flying, and as we pull into the Blimp City, we stop at this big empty chair. And then we kind of come around and we see Tommy, Bill, and Chuck kind of like watching out this window. Okay. And in the side, to the side of them, next to them, is the finished wheelchair with spinners going and the rocket pods, and you know it's just there. Fills up most of the room. And in the distance, you know, it's pretty obvious. Like there's the Rocky Mountains. And do you guys have any one last thing to say, Bill and Tommy, or is it just going to be a solemn moment?
You cut out just a little bit there.
Is it going to be a solemn moment, or is that?
Well,
or do you guys have something else? One last thing.
Bill will have come to his senses and realized that, you know, Tommy did what had to be done. Still a little pinched, but he pardoned Tommy. He understands why he did that. And he says one thing about Big Joe. Maybe he was the most human of us all.
Fuck you.
I didn't know that we cast Bill Shatner to play Bill, but now it's canon. And then as you guys kind of like drift through, you're flying over this road, this completely dilapidated road, and you're keeping yourself away from the mountains. And eventually, you follow the instructions, and you end up in this kind of this small valley that is filled with wooden cabins. It was like a lodge or a resort in years past. And as the Blimp City kind of comes in for a landing, humans, like 100, 200 humans, start coming out of their lodges, and they're waving. And on the slopes of the mountains, you see like fields that they've managed to make work in this climate. And as the Blimp City comes to land, they found it. Erelon, and by all appearances, it's safe. And as you guys are like the gangplanks are coming down, as you're about to leave, Tommy's already going down, and Chuck and Bill are standing at the top of at this particular gangplank, and Debbie Shane comes up, puts a hand on both of their shoulders, and she says, "All right, we made it. We made it." Scene.
Do you know how weird that group is going to seem to the people at Erelon just on the giant rocket chair alone? Like,
well, Tommy is like first point of order is building a statue in honor of Joe.
Oh damn! You know what else though? They named the Blimp City Mekvokogblan.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, I agree with that.
it has come full circle.
Oh god. What are we gonna do next campaign? I gotta resurrect his ass?
Please don't.
Yeah, he kind of kicked the shit out of you guys, didn't he? All right.
Just a wee bit.
All right, that's it. That's Neosoma. It's a real shame that Molly wasn't here, but she wanted to be, and I know she'll watch this and get crazy and hit us up in the Discord. So that'll be fun.
Yell at all of us.
Yeah. Especially Big Joe.
Yeah, my backup plan, or my plan after diving in, was to use Alter Magic to fly out. But that really didn't turn out the way I thought it was. So she wants the lid
got added. I'm like, oh, okay then.
Oof.
So I can just imagine, like, as the lid's on, they just hear like something hitting it, and then just like it just slowly stops.
Oh, that would have been really dark. I'm glad you didn't mention that. Oh, I'm glad we're still on air, so everyone now gets that retroactive image of Joe desperately trying to escape. Okay.
Is that our Marvel post-credit scene?
Oh!
Oh, no.
Super dark. Super dark. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope everybody had a great time. If it's your first time tuning in, I still hope you had a good time, even though, you know, you might have been a little lost, because this was the culmination of the entire campaign. And if you've been with us, you know, since session 1, I hope it was a satisfying conclusion. And it seems I've definitely set the precedent between Fire and Blade and Neosoma that victory comes at a cost. Sometimes unexpected, as it may be. So, Dire Roll will be back with another campaign, a new campaign. We are going to be returning to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Not because we don't like Fate, but it's just that category gets a lot more traffic, and we want to build up the channel. So maybe once we have a sizable audience, we can go back to other systems like Fate or something else when we actually have some viewership. Yeah, so that'd be cool. We're going back to Dungeons & Dragons. I don't want to say too much what the campaign is going to be because I don't really know, because we all have to talk about it. But I wouldn't expect us to come back to have our session 1 of the new campaign until at a minimum late June, mid to late June. That'll be the earliest you'll see us. We'll post on Twitter, at least you know when our premiere date is, and I'll change stuff on the channel here. I will probably still do some streaming on Sundays. Depends on what happens on those days, but I'll try to keep you guys engaged. I don't know what I'll stream yet. I'll figure it out. But yeah, so we got another campaign. I got a lot of ideas, but I want to make sure everything gels with the party, and we're going back to D&D. So I hope you guys tune in June or later, depending on how long it takes to cross all our T's and dot all our I's for it. And once more, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a great night. And if you're a fan of a certain show, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And at that, we're going to say goodnight.
Good night, everyone.
Night.